Welcome back to Ladies of Another View. We've been visiting with DawnMarie Alexander Boursiquot, and she is a member of Project 21. It's a conservative Black organization with the National Center for Public Policy Research. She's also the owner of Uncommon Voice Coaching. So I asked her, that you can go find her on Facebook, and I asked her if maybe she could give us some tips because she talks about developing leaders, improving performance, and aligning values. Now, the aligning values one surprised me because you're not just teaching people to be effective, but tell me about the aligning values part.
You know, one thing that I've learned is that in order, especially when we're looking at authentic leadership, you have to align your values with what you do or what you do with your values, or you'll look a little unbalanced. So you can't say that you care about people and then your actions towards people don't work. Or if you say, and this one may be a hard one for some people, but if you say that you represent something, well, how do you present yourself in the natural? How do you present yourself in your clothing? How do you present yourself? What language do you use? How do you speak? So you want to align yourself with your values. My values say that as a woman, as a female, that I should have a modest dress. Now, that doesn't mean I can't dress fashionable, but do I need to allow everything to hang out? And maybe someone might be a lot more curvaceous than I am. Is that an excuse to let everything hang out? Remember, when we were younger, remember things called girdles? Now we have spandex. But people need to bring it back because I'm sure all of us have seen some things that are like, that may be a little risque, because we want to make sure that we're comporting ourselves in the way that's in alignment to who we say that we are. Because what you're finding is that people are dressing one way, saying one thing, and when they're acknowledged based on what people see from them, they get offended. Well, you can't get offended because what have you presented? Remember, we're communicating always, even when we're not speaking. So how you present yourself in your clothing, in your hair, what you do, it says a lot about you. How many of us have seen people with certain hair color? No shame. I'm not throwing any under the bus, but it does give us a little bit of an insight. Well, we might think a certain thing. It may not be bad, but we have to begin to own it. We are a package. We are all a brand. We all represent something or someone. I am a faith-based person, so I have to look at how I present myself, how I align my behaviors, my speech, my attitude, how I treat people with what I say. And when there is a contradiction, then therein lies a problem. And then people no longer know you, they no longer like you, or they may not definitely trust you.
So when you're working with clients, kind of what is your starting point? Like, how do you start with a client?
Wait, a conversation. First of all, tell me a little bit about yourself, and then what are your goals? What is it that you want to achieve? Are we trying to start a business? Are you trying to move to the next level? And what are some of the hindrances that you feel that you're struggling with? Believe it or not, when you let people just talk, and I am a talker, I've had to learn to, what the kids say when we were little, put a ticker lock on it and just learn to listen. Because when you let people talk long enough, they will tell you who they are. Now, sometimes people will misspeak or they'll get a little too comfortable and they'll use maybe the wrong words, but they will usually let you know who they are. And because I have been through a lot, there's a lot doesn't get past me. You begin to hear, a victim mentality. You begin to hear, okay, you're always blaming somebody else, but you're never taking. Now, it very may well be that what was done to you was horrific, but then your response to it is what matters. And we see that a lot when people they've either been raped or mugged. It's not good, but you'll have one person that will be in anxiety for the rest of their life and they're on medication, and we're sorry for those people. Other people turn it around and they become triumphs. They become victors. So the goal is to find out what is the goal that you want to achieve. Why haven't you achieved it? Why do you think you're struggling? And then begin to create a plan or a strategy from there to help them accomplish their goals.
I really liked how you kind of put out, it's kind of like people's written statement about me, but yet their outwardly expression is different. So how about like people's social media. That's a big thing. I mean, on all those platforms and what people put out their pictures and this and this and that, does that come into play a lot?
I believe that it does. There's a lot that I see. There's how many of us have had those brain dead days where like, you know what, I can't do anything and we're just a scrolling. We're just a scrolling. Well, nowadays you have to be careful what you like because it'll show up. You know, you'll see somebody else liked it too, but it may not be something, it may be funny, but it may not be something you want to attach yourself to. Again, we all have a responsibility. And I think what we're seeing in our society right now is nobody wants to take responsibility for their actions. They don't want to take responsibility for how what they do may affect them. One of the sayings that I used to tell my children that what you do today will eventually bite you in the butt one day, if it's not a good thing. But you cannot just always think about the moment today, right now. You have to consider how is what I'm going to do going to affect my tomorrow. Now, mind you, you may also make all the right decisions right now. You did the best you could with the information that you had at that time, and it could still blow up in your face. You have to own it, accept it, know that you did your best, put on your big girl, bloomers and keep it moving and not allow it to the shame to get you. And I'm not saying this because I've not experienced it. I'm saying this because I've walked through it. And I know what it's like. I know the pain. I know the struggle of trying your best and then going, what? But what do? You pick it up and you keep it moving. You don't stop because with each go around, you learn a new nugget, you change and you grow. And those that are not willing to do that are just going to fall by the wayside. And in the season that we're in right now, where we see even in the political realm that they're trying to strip us from free enterprise and getting mad because you put the work in. So they want to strip you of the wealth that you made, the title that you've earned for yourself. We have to be more tenacious in our desires and our goals to make sure that we become the people that we were designed to become.
That is a beautiful statement. It's an empowering statement that why would you want to be a victim when you can be this?
Right.
And you're talking about leadership and presenting yourself. And those
but
are
it's
the people...
easy to be a victim. For you to have your show and the ability to triumph is hard. Because the moment that you decide that I'm not going to be a victim, you have to own everything. You have to own it. And it's sometimes easier. Freud talked about it in the pleasure principle. Sometimes it's easier. I know this. I know what this drug is going to make me feel like. I can handle that. I may not be able to handle the rejection or what it's going to be like on the other side. So when we're sitting here, there's an old saying that says, by the grace of God, there go I. It's hard. And so every day that we wake up, again, gratitude. I don't know why I was created with the ability to move on. Why was I given this when somebody next to me couldn't? We take these little things for granted. And so we just have to keep pushing. We have to begin to open up the door to educate ourselves, tap into community. We can't be alone. People are wanting to be alone more because they can't handle, they don't know what to do. Identity has been stripped because we no longer have a foundation in our society of morality or values. And everything is becoming their own individual God, what I think, what I want, what you need for me. So we have to really change that narrative also.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a beautiful message. I want to put your title of your company up there again, because I think after listening to you, people might go, hey, maybe you can help me. So you're the owner of Uncommon Voice Coaching, and you develop leaders, improving performance, and aligning values. And that's so beautiful because really it's the whole package of the person. If you want to be a leader. And I bet sometimes when we just have like a half a minute, sometimes you probably look for like, what's your first step? You just don't create this overnight. Right? But what's the first step typically?
The first step is making a decision. That's where it goes. You know what? No matter what. I'm in that season right now because of just the last couple of years for me have just been like, I survived. Let's just put it that way. I survived. But sometimes there's a tenacity that you just have to keep pushing no matter what. And then you have to have a faith background. I don't know what some people believe in, but I am definitely a faith-based Christian. And so my values and my support system comes from that. I stand on that. So sometimes it's not me, it's what's been promised to me. And if God has said he has a future and a hope for me, then it's my job to hold on to that promise and keep pushing. If he said that he that began the good work in me will finish it to the end, it's my job to stand on that promise and keep pushing. So we all need something to stand on and believe on. And from there, you just keep making the choice to keep moving.
Amen.
Well, that is beautiful. Wow. Everything you said is like, yes. Yeah, I love it. So thank you, DawnMarie, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure.